Hi, I'm Alex. This is my review of the KSW Android 11 head unit for cars. This unit, I believe, is marketed for not only BMWs like this 2010 E90, but also Mercedes-Benz and Audi models too. So, firstly, I'll go over specs. So, this model, I'd say, is like a mid-range model, in my opinion. So, it's got 4GB of RAM, 64GB internal storage, a lowish resolution of 1280 by 400, which turns out is perfectly adequate for this. I did want to go for a high resolution, but now I've got this in front of me and I've been using it for a few months. I'm quite happy with it. It looks fine. The only issue I'd say is the brightness. It's not quite bright, and as you can see, the plastic on the screen is quite a glossy one, so you can see a lot of reflections. Hopefully having tinted windows would sort that, but I'll find out in the future and give an update on that. There is other models available which give more RAM and more storage and a high resolution as well, which is like 1920 by something. I can't remember exactly what it is, but yeah, there is different options out there. You're not just stuck with this one. They all seem to come with a SIM card slot and a micro SD card slot, so that's pretty good as well. GPS antenna I've stuck between them two vents. The 4G module I've stuck somewhere around there and never had any issue with signal. It's got pretty much the same signal as my phone's got right now, and when you're travelling at speed, say on like the motorway, never had any issues, still get that kind of signal, and you don't really notice any difference in the speed at all. And when using the sat-nav, I've not had any issues with the GPS. As with many third-party Android devices, this one runs a custom version of Android. And now, unfortunately, you can't find any info on it online. You can't find out who the developers are, any contact information, so you can't suggest any features or ask for any bug fixes. All there is online is information that it's called KSW. There's a couple of apps for it that somebody's done, and a couple of like fixes, but nothing major. And just a small forum of people that discuss it, provide support to one another, but they're mainly the Android 9 and 10 versions, whereas this is a 11, and I believe there's Android 12 units coming out or already out. So unfortunately there's not much in the way of support or just general knowledge about these devices beyond what whoever the seller is that you buy it off can provide for you, but I've even found that might not be too much as well, because it's just a bit of a mystery Android version that just seems to be on these kind of devices. In terms of bloatware, there's just a couple of apps that you can easily get rid of with rooted ADB commands, as this device isn't rooted from the box. And again, with the lack of official support, I wouldn't want to try and root this device, because it's not that easy to recover them, because you have to take them out of the car, power them up on a bench, take the case off, short two of the pins, so then you can get into the recovery options and then go from there. So until it gains more traction, gets more of a user base, and people start actually trying to root it themselves, then I wouldn't want to risk it. And I myself root pretty much all my Android devices, but I would not want to risk it with this. But again, you can go down the route of root ADB commands, so you just have to connect it to a computer, or you could connect it to your phone. You just download like a terminal emulator app on your phone, and you can install the ADB tools from there and issue all the commands. Just get rid of the blow taps. It's only a couple, like I say, but it's good to free up that space and just make the app drawer nice and clean. I've been using this for a few months now, and I've had absolutely no issues whatsoever when it comes to performance or any crashes or freezes. And in the time I've been using it, here in the UK we've had a couple of days, or several days really, of quite warm weather, and naturally that means that the car's quite warm, especially when I come back to it after work. So the tablet itself is quite warm. When you're touching it, say like at the back, it's quite warm. But I've not had any issues with it thermal throttling. Performance has stayed the same as it is on a cold day, and I've not actually experienced any bugs yet. Any random reboots or anything like that, so it's just running completely flawlessly. And I've installed a couple of apps already. I've got stuff running in background, and it's just not missed a beat. Now, there are some minor issues, and I do apologise because this will get technical, but I want it to be as informative as I can. But these issues can be worked around with an automation app called Tasker. So if you haven't heard of it, I'd strongly recommend you do. Not just for this head unit, but also for your phone, because it can basically do things that unlock the potential of your phone. The best way I could describe this to someone is that it turns your phone from a smartphone to like a personal assistant, because it just brings that sort of possibility that you wouldn't normally get with apps or just your phone in general. So the first bug is to do with the KSW specific settings. You can change the default music, video and navigation apps. However, with the default launcher, you have this music button here, and you also have this music tile here. They basically won't be compatible with it. So this is just compatible with the default music player, and also this button is just hard-coded to the default music player. So no matter what option you choose in these settings, which you can see here, it doesn't have an effect. So straight away, there's two parts of this launcher, that button and this tile, that just become redundant if you want a custom music player, which is quite unfortunate really. It would have been nice integration to have. Second bug is that, naturally, they wanted this device to feel like a normal infotainment system. So when the unit boots fully, it launches whatever music app you had selected, like in the previous clip. And this is the part of the setting that actually does have an effect. But if you store music on an external device like a USB, like I am, the issue is that the music player starts up too quick. It starts up before Android has had a chance to mount the USB device. So your media player starts up, tries to play music, but the music doesn't exist yet. You can see by the little USB icon there, so it's mounted, it's working. So basically this means that you have to just deselect that music app option. Just don't use any music app in there at all, because it'll just keep starting it on boot and it just won't be ready at all. It's completely fine if you've got music stored on the device itself, but it's not really that easy when it comes to like keep adding music to the device. You know, you want to have it on a USB or a memory card so you can just take it out, plug it into your computer, transfer new music and put it back in again. And going back to the previous bug, this means that this media button then has no effect. If you take away the music option so that it doesn't try to auto start your media player and basically not be in a ready state, if you take that away, then that means that that button doesn't work at all because you've got no media player selected. However, this is again where Tasker will come in handy. So what I do to overcome these music integration issues is to have Tasker do two things for me. So the first thing is, it listens out for the device to boot, which the device sends a broadcast for. Once it's got that, it then listens out for any storage devices being mounted. So then if that storage device that's being mounted happens to be the one that I store my music on, then it will launch the music player. So as soon as it's ready, it'll launch the music player, which is how it should be. It should be waiting for the device, but you can't fault the music player in this case because it's the KSW that's launching the app just too early, because it doesn't really know that you're playing music from external storage. It doesn't really take this into account, so it's just a bit of an oversight really. It's not so much an issue, but it's just a bit of an oversight. And secondly, I have Tasker to scan the system logs to listen out for the media key to be pressed. So now that I've cleared that option so that it isn't auto starting the music player and then it's taken away the media functionality, it's still broadcasting a media key press. So I listen out for that with Tasker, and then again I have that launch the media app. So everything's back to normal with a custom media app. And that just means that you can bypass these issues no problem. So that's the kind of help that Tasker has. You can just automate certain tasks and just add functionality that isn't there normally. So thanks to Tasker, that part's sorted. And the third bug is to do with the communication, the phones. So if you have it selected, you cannot then connect any other Bluetooth devices. For some reason, it completely takes over the Bluetooth. So, in my case, luckily there's an option in the KSW settings again, where you can change it back to just Android Bluetooth. So then you can connect other devices. So I use an OBD2 Bluetooth adapter, which I couldn't use previously because I was using the phone functionality on this. So I just stick to using the phone functionality that's built into the radio anyway, which is a little unfortunate. It would be nice to have it integrated into this, so if you're playing music or a video, obviously the phone call will interrupt it and then resume it when the phone call's ended, but for some reason, for you to be able to connect your phone to this, it just interrupts anything else to do with Bluetooth. So that's quite frustrating. I'm not sure why that is. It just seems to be something to do with the way they've coded this KSW version of Android. So that's my review of the KSW Android 11 unit. I'll probably do another one in the future with a more in-depth sort of review of how I've customised it, you know, the sort of possibilities, what you can do with it, because it's a work in progress for me at the moment. I've added some little bits to it, like a data monitor usage, a screen with shortcuts on it, stuff like that, so I'm constantly working on mine, just jazzing it up sort of thing, personalising it to my taste, getting a bit nerdy with it really. So in the future, when I've sort of reached a point where I've done quite a bit with it, I'll do another video showcasing that and just sort of showcasing what you can really do with it and why it's great to have an Android unit like this. And Tasker plays a big part in that as well, so keep an eye out for that.